back to business. I'd like to welcome everybody. This has become an annual event since back 2017, 2018. Judy Fernald and I were walking by school one day in 2017. Eric Steves was the superintendent at the time, and I think maybe the principal too. And Mindy might have even been there too. Yes. Yeah, and he says, "Come here a minute. I got an idea for you." So he said, "How would you like to start a Hall of Fame for Schenck High School?" And we liked the idea. You know, we thought it would be a wonderful thing to show people what some of the people from Schenck High School had achieved in their lifetimes. So we took him up on the offer. Little did we know how much work there was to it. But we spent the first year in committee just researching what other people had and discussing what we wanted for Schenck High School. And what we decided was that we didn't want just a sports Hall of Fame, which a lot of schools have. Not that we don't like sports, we love sports. But the people that achieve what we think of as excellence or greatness in other fields should be honored just as much as the people that are involved in athletics. So we worked at it and we came up with 5 categories that we go with. And those of you, I hope you all got programs, I got the booklet that has our honorees for this year. The booklet has in it what the categories are. And it's quite varied. So, you know, if you've done something that stands out in your lifetime, it could be just that you did wonderful things in the community for kids. Not that you were a coach or anything else, but you put in a lot of hours helping kids out or doing things for them or doing things for the school. You're just as eligible as somebody that has a doctorate degree and, you know, done great things that way. So we cover a lot of territory. And this year, we are especially proud the idea that we've got 4 women going in. No offense, Mark. But for the first several years, it was weighted on the male side of things. And I think that was partly because in the early days, males got to do a lot of things that females weren't able to do. And it's opened up. And I think a lot of you realize that. One of the things that we really strive for here is to be able to put some pictures and bios up on the wall that kids can walk by and read or look at and say, wow, that kid really went to Schenck High School and they did that? Yeah. Geez, why can't I do that? And that's the idea. And this group of 5 people that are going in this year, we haven't had any better. Okay, this is it's a wonderful group to work with. They're extremely accomplished. And if you want to put some names up there that kids can emulate, want to be like, boy, the 5 of the best right here. So give them a hand, please. And I probably ought to just point them out because some of you weren't in the other part of the building where it was hot. Carrie Cram is one of our inductees. Mark Farmer. Jackie Majura Dart. Michelle Kashub, not able to attend this afternoon. We've got a medical situation happening, and that's all we can say at this point. We don't know what's happening for sure, but she made the trip up and certainly deserves an applause. And Ruth Gagne Shaw. There she is, over here. Okay, now we've got a little business to take care of first. This guy with a hat's got all kinds of money. If you got 50-50 ticket, get it out. It's gonna be a pretty good haul. Okay, get your tickets ready. Now, unfortunately, we need an honest person to draw this. Judy, get your hand out of there. It's going to be $110 if we can get Judy's paw out of there. You know, the old trick with the monkey reaching in and not being able to get his fist out?
That's me.
That's Judy. This lady at the end down here, this woman over here looks really honest. I don't know her real well. I think she's related to the founding principal of Schenck High School. This is Betty Heel, the daughter-in-law of Mr. Hill. And we hear that she's a pretty honest person, so get your tickets ready and she'll haul one out for us.
We had our first alumni get-together last night at the town hall. And Betty, I hate to say it, honey, but she was the most senior, trying to think of how to say it, most senior attendee, the class of 51.
Don't be looking for your own, Betty. Okay. That'd be good. Hey, what are you doing there? Okay.
708 are the last.
The last three numbers are 708. We hope there's only one person that has it. 708, the last three numbers. Wow. Hey. Judy's counting it off. Okay. Now, some of you probably wonder, you know, how you get your name in to become a member of the Schenck Hall of Fame. You have to be nominated. Our committee, Judy, Mindy, myself, George, Eddie, Louise, and Jessie Page, wherever she is, we can't nominate. Okay, all we can do is take the nominations, and every year we go through, we have a whole list of people, and we have to sort through that, and we vote on who we think is most deserving. And it's tough, and it's a secret ballot, so that we don't know who we're all voting for. We count them up afterwards. We've had an extremely honest, short individual that's helped us count for years and years, and it's still available if you'd like to do it. The guy up there in the yellow shirt, Mo Daigle. Now I said he was very honest. He can't count worth a darn, but he is extremely honest, and he was a pretty damn good cross-country runner too. But you can nominate anybody, can pick up one of those forms. There were some forms out front here today. I don't know if they're all gone. You certainly can get more from me or from the school. You know, give me a call. Anybody that thinks they want to nominate somebody should be somebody that has some kind of area of excellence, and I'll help you put it together. All the people generally that get nominated, I call everybody, we talk, and I get more information, and so on. It's a process. And then we put that all together, and it goes before the committee, and then we make final decision, and that's where we are today. At this point, before we actually start inducting, I'd like to direct you, if you have these, take a look at the back page. We would ask Judy to sing the Hail Alma Mater song, but we heard a story about the farm and her singing with the cows, and I don't think we should do that. So anyway, anybody that went down to the town hall last night, that was fun to see people from different classes. And hopefully we'll be able to do that another year, get to mix a little bit rather than just one class at a time. So Judy and Louise in particular, let's give them a hand for putting that together. We'll see how good you are with your Schenck High School history. Don't shout it out, put your hands up. Which of this year's inductees holds an Eastern Maine tournament record? Okay, Lady Red. Yep, you. That's correct. Ruthie, help me out. In 1980, Ruthie was a senior at Schenck High School. And in a tournament game with Bucksport, Ruthie scored 38 points and had 18 field goals. That's 2-point shots, which is still a record since 1980. That hasn't been broken in Class C. Pretty remarkable. And she's got some other stuff that isn't bad too. But never been beat. Second question, which of this year's inductees scored a last-second shot to preserve an unbeaten season? That sort of eliminates a lot of things.
Mr. Mark Farmer.
Yeah, the guy up there. Yeah. That would be Mark Farmer. And the story, the way I heard it, goes like this. They were working on an unbeaten season. And they went up to Holton, one of the last games of the season. And with about, as far as I could tell, about 10 seconds to play, they were down by 2 points. Holton was on their foul line, shooting a foul shot. 10 seconds to go. Perfect season on the line. Kid misses the foul shot. Somehow it gets into Farmer's hand, and he went streaking down the court. One of his teammates told me, he said, I thought Mark was going to go in and stuff it, because he was ahead of the field. I don't know how you get ahead of the field, but anyway. So he goes down, and what's he do? He stops at the 3-point line. Jumps in the air, swish. Rest is history. Yes, we got.
I think you better give credit where credit is due. His mom was sitting in the audience saying the grocery.
Did you all hear that? I believe it. The other half of that story, John, your husband?
John.
Okay. John Farmer, husband, was a lot like Mark, I think, sort of laid back. And I heard a story from the mill. The guys that work with him down in the mill, that after a game, they'd come into work and they'd say, how'd the kids do last night? And John said, oh, they won. They had a pretty good game, they won. And this one day, he came into work and they said, he was jumping all over the place. He said, you should have seen it. He said, my boy scored a last-minute shot to win, to keep our undefeated season going. So that's the other half. So the rosaries and Dad. Okay. Which of our inductees has a daughter who married the son of the inductee's classmate? Now that's not a, nefarious thing. It's a real thing, and there's actually more to it. There's another twist. I'll try to get straight. Does anybody have a guess on that one? Oh, you guys cheat. No, that's okay. You're going to have to, because nobody else knows.
McDonald, Miguel.
Okay, so you want to say that again? Jackie's? Yeah, it was Jackie. Jackie Majora. Her daughter, Erica, married Penny McDonald's son. Okay, now it gets even trickier. Betty McDonald also had a daughter who married another classmate from the class of '62, Carolyn Manus. Okay, so her son, and she, by the way, married Dick Lenfest, who used to teach here. He was a phys ed teacher and baseball basketball coach when I was in school. So he married Carolyn Manus, and their son married Penny's daughter. So they're all big happy family. Right? Did I get that right? Good. All right. Now, where was Michelle Presley's summer home growing up, and what was her summer job? Oh, I did? Which one? Which daughter? Which team is long? Oh, okay, I know. What team's long unbeaten streak was broken by one of Kerry Cram's basketball teams? So this would take you back into the 90s. And I don't know why that woman would have any idea other than she had a scrapbook about that big. Yes. Yeah, the Callis Blue Devils were dominating everybody in Class C back then. They went for several years, winning the state championship, and we knocked them right out of it, didn't we? Beat them in the tournament. I think that's probably one of Kerry's most proud moments, right? Now we get down to Michelle's. Where was Michelle Presley's summer home growing up, and what was her summer job? Did I see a hand up way up there? Or are you just hugging your girlfriend? Oh, just hugging, sorry. That music guy there. All right.
I'm going to take a guess on the second part. Obviously, it's Boot Cove, Lubeck.
Yep.
I'm going to guess that she was fishing herring.
Yeah, she said that Brian probably did a little more of the fishing stuff with her dad than she did, but she did some. Okay, and Dad, Dave Presley, grew up in Trescott, not Lubeck, right across the border, right? Just down a little ways. Not a lot of people know where Trescott is. But they have a lovely home down there on a cove. And Dave, I guess, probably made more money fishing than he did teaching, didn't he? Yeah, he had his own weir and his own boat that he fished with, and the kids helped him all the time. So with that, let me move on. I think I got them all. I'm having a moment. This is the 80th anniversary of D-Day this year. And I did want to mention, I think it's appropriate with our group, we have some military history with the Hall of Fame here. One of our very first inductees was Lieutenant Edwin Reynolds, who was a bomber pilot. He was in his early 20s. He flew out of North Africa into occupied Italy to soften it up for the landing of the troops after D-Day. When they moved into Italy, he was one of the pilots that did that very dangerous run to soften the Germans. And he lost his life in the process. He dropped his bombs one of the times, and on his way home they shot him down, 20-something years old. So he's in our hall. Stephen W. Groves, Ensign Stephen W. Groves, that some of you are familiar with because there's, I think, a plaque out in the hall. Stephen W. was in the Battle of Midway for the, really we were hurting. We were sort of crippled with Pearl Harbor, and Midway was a vital battle for taking over the Pacific Ocean, that area. And Stephen W. Groves was a fighter pilot, and he went up against overwhelming odds, the Japanese force that attacked that day, and shot down a number of enemy planes. And actually, he and his comrades, even though they were overwhelmed number-wise, were able to turn back the enemy planes, and we ended up winning the Battle of Midway, which is a turning point in the war in the Pacific. So they actually named the ship after Stephen W., and he certainly should be recognized. Last year, we also put in an admiral. You know, think about that. You know, from Schenck High School, an admiral or a general. We don't get many of those. Admiral Brian Estes. And Brian Brian was in charge, he was in the engineering part of the Navy, and he was in charge of building the submarine port in Georgia, the biggest naval operation that I think they've ever had. And it was his baby. He was actually in charge of the whole Pacific area and much of the other area in the oceans. Incredible man. Then we got a guy that's here today who just happens to fly Marine One, which if you don't know is a presidential helicopter. And he has flown it for 3 presidents? 4 now. Okay. Jeremy DeVue, Lieutenant Colonel?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might, when I report in his activities of this weekend, it might come down a little bit in rank. I'll try to be as kind as I can, Jeremy. So anyway, we did have, Don Moran, Don Nesbitt were both in the Korean War. My brother Harry was in the Vietnam War, didn't go to Vietnam, but he did research in Washington about some of the diseases they were fighting over there. Emmett Stevens was in the Navy. I don't think Emmett was in any direct fighting. And there are probably some others, but we thought...
Your other brother.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who that lady is. My other brother was in the Navy too. Okay, sorry, Pete. He's not in the hall.
No, that's
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
Oh.
Okay, she's always very helpful. Anyway, with that, I just thought it would be appropriate this year, where it's the 80th anniversary, that we mentioned some of ours. So we have a good representation.
God bless the records.
Thank you. And now with that, we'll start inducting some of these people into Schenck's Hall of Fame. Our first one is Kerry Cram. Kerry had one of the best high school athletic careers, best high school years of anybody we've ever put through here. She was arguably as good a student as she was an athlete. And this is my favorite quote with Kerry. She has infectious enthusiasm. And any of you that know her know that's exactly a perfect description. She's just so vibrant and all kinds of energy. She had great work ethic and intense competitiveness, and did a wonderful job in both the classroom and in athletics. She truly loved the green and white and brought her A game to everything she did. As a student, she had high honors all 4 years, won numerous academic awards, graduated with a 3.8 GPA. That's pretty good. And was the salutatorian of the class of 1995. Nancy Moscone, her English teacher, called Kerry extremely conscientious and one of the friendliest, most helpful and supportive young women she had ever observed. It's a pretty high compliment. In athletics, Kerry's teammates and coaches were equally enthusiastic about her. Ron Marks, her soccer coach, said Kerry was a friend to everyone and an outstanding ambassador for Schenck High School, as well as being the best midfielder he had ever coached. Jay Brown, her basketball coach, said Kerry was a special person to coach and a true joy to be around. Her teammate, Rebecca York, said being a captain was a natural role for Kerry. She was supportive and encouraging of all of her team members and the definition of a great teammate. Holly Rosebush, who also played on several teams with Kerry, said she always gave 100%, and in addition to her exceptional athleticism, she had great instincts. Her anticipation allowed her to always be one step ahead of her opponents. And that's looking at Kerry's stats. She scored a lot of points, which is good. I mean, she was over 1,000, but she also had 670 rebounds. And she's not a real big girl. Oh, What were you in high school, 5'7", 5'8"?
I think maybe 5'6".
5'6"? And every night, when they played, Carrie guarded somebody that was 5 or 6 inches taller on a regular basis, and still came out with 670 rebounds. She was amazing, and the reason that she did, she was aggressive as heck, but she was smart, and when a shot went up, Carrie said, "Where's that ball gonna come down?" And she was gonna be the first one there, and she was. She beat people to the spot all the time. She also knocked a few people over in the process, but she was a wonderful competitor, and she always reached down and offered a smile and a hand to get them back up. She was a great, great competitor. Carrie truly ranks as one of the most outstanding athletes in Schenck history. Her 1,203 points and 670 rebounds in basketball, and her great field play in soccer rank her among the best of the best. In recognition of her accomplishments, she's been honored with selections to All-Conference, All-Eastern Maine, All-State teams in both soccer and basketball. She was also named the Owen Osborne Class C Most Valuable Player of the Eastern Maine Tournament. She was selected to play in the McDonald's All-Star Game, and guess what? She was the MVP of that as well. And was a first team selection to the prestigious Maine Dream Team. So all the girls in the state of Maine, regardless of class, if I'm not mistaken, which is, for a girl in Class C to make that doesn't happen very often. So very, very good. Carrie's very proud of the accolades, but she's most proud of those 4 gold balls in the trophy case that she and her teammates were able to win, 2 in basketball and 2 in soccer. Carrie would say, it's teams that win championships, not individuals. That's just the way she was. After high school, Carrie took her talents to Husson University on a full athletic scholarship. However, she got her hand in the door early on her freshman year, broke her hand, and it set her back all through her college career. So she never really did get a chance to do what she could do. Instead, her focus shifted to her studies and getting her nursing degree, beginning her career and then raising her young family. Carrie's specialty was psychiatric nursing, working closely with men, women, and children who were victims of sexual abuse. She also worked with people afflicted with the disease of drug and alcohol addiction. And in addition, she spent 10 years down at Togus working with our veterans who are suffering with PTSD, which is a tough job. Today, Carrie lives in Florida, is a nurse at a correctional facility, and works with home health care and hospice. In her personal life, Carrie's the mother of 3 adult children, Cameron, Peyton, and Nicholas. She currently shares her home with Gator, who's in the picture if you saw it on the wall. He's that big dog, a golden retriever therapy dog that she trained herself. Carrie, would you come up, please, and get your plaque?
Don't like to talk in front of people. But I just want to say thank you to my parents especially. They're probably happier now than they ever have been. And I'm so thankful that my girls are here. My biggest supporters, my sister's here, my uncle's here, my aunt and uncle are here. My best friend Kelly Daigle is here. And if it really wasn't for, Kelly really pushing me, which she really didn't know she did, but I wouldn't have been out on my driveway all this time trying to get where I ended up. And then all of the guys up here, Jeremy, Lucas I think was there a couple of times, Mark, Greg, Darren I think are here, the Spring Street crew, we all played in my yard. And I think me and Kelly playing with the guys made us as strong as we were. So I hope I didn't miss anybody, but just thank you everybody, even my teachers, they helped me get where I needed to go, and I'm keeping it short. So thank you very much, everybody.
In Carrie's speech, her senior year, her salutatorian speech, she talked about the molding of clay to end up a final product. And, you know, in her case, okay, she's talking about her life and how she turned out, and how the teachers and the coaches and her friends influenced that life. And we got a pretty good one out of that piece of clay. So, congratulations. And just as a side note, I know you and Kelly got tougher, but just think what those boys gained. Our next inductee, Jacqueline Majorada. Jackie grew up in Medway, in the old historic village, close to where the east and west branches of the Penobscot River come together. Jackie was a wicked shy girl in high school. She loved to read, and she was very, very smart right from the beginning. In grade school, they pushed her ahead of grade, and her thirst for knowledge continued right through high school. She ended up the valedictorian of the class of 1962. And one of the things that Jackie remembers most from the class of 62 was being in Gilly's drill team. She liked the precision that Gilly taught, and that was one of her favorite activities in high school. Now, after high school, Jackie headed out to the University of Minnesota to earn a degree in medical technology. And Jackie and I have talked about this. She was 17 at the time she got on the bus in Bangor and headed to Minnesota. By herself, not knowing anybody out there, she talked to people at the university and didn't really have enough money to pay for college or a place to stay. So she had to apply for jobs when she got there. The university had arranged for her to interview when she got there. And she got a job with a banker's family as a nanny, and continued to do that for 4 years. And she credits him with teaching her finance background and providing her with a great place to study and live that was perfect for what she wanted. So Jackie was sort of lucky that way. But think about that for a minute. A 17-year-old girl getting ready to head to Minnesota with nobody there really to greet her. She was on her own. It had to be extremely scary. So, brave, brave girl. She, after graduation from the University of Minnesota, Jackie had an agreement back in Boston. I think to do her last year back in Boston, and she would have a job, an internship at the hospital. So she did her first 3 years at Minnesota and then 1 year back in Boston. And then she started in Boston as a lab tech. She was doing regular testing that, the different things that you test for in a hospital. She was in a lab doing that. But Jackie very soon moved on from that and became the manager of all the labs in the hospital. And she also ran into this guy, Ron, who was the love of her life, Ron Dart, and they married just about that time in 1967. Jackie she climbed the corporate ladder, the University of Boston University Medical Center. She became, at one point, the senior clinical administrator for all the labs, and continued to climb. And she continued her education through this whole thing. Her resume includes things like Master of Communications Management, a certificate from Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute for Artificial Intelligence, the Wharton School of Management for Financial Planning, New York University for Matrix Management, Babson and Harvard for Business Administration. Jackie finally reached a point in her career where for 8 years, she was the chief operating officer in charge of what was a $90 million budget with $150 million of revenue coming in. So $250 million operation or $40 million operation back in the 70s or 80s?
That would be
80s. But, you know, just think about that. $250 million then compared to, you know, what it would be today. This kid from Medway, Maine. So we're extremely proud of Jackie. In 1996, she left her job after 20-something years at 22 years at Boston University Medical Center, and went out on her own. Decided to try her skills in marketing and working with her husband. I think the two of them worked together for a while. Yeah. And she was good at that too. Jackie's good at everything she takes on. So after 40 years, she and husband Ron retired and moved up closer to daughter Erica, and her husband up in New York, and that's where they reside today. So she's, I think, spoiling her grandchildren, Ava and Abby, getting a chance to do that or having a little time with them. So Jackie, we're extremely proud of you. That's incredible accomplishments. Would you come up and get your plaque, please? Get your plaque and take a picture first.
I think it will be fine. Can everybody hear me? Should I speak louder? Okay. Well, I want everybody here to know how much I appreciate the citizens of Medway and East Millinocket for what they have done for their children. This is just remarkable. Everything. A beautiful day today, a wonderful luncheon, lots of people who are good people. Oh, wow. And I've been a lot of places, and not everybody is as good or welcoming as you are. So I want to say, for me, it began here at Schenck High School, and I will tell you how. I cannot remember the name of my guidance counselor, unfortunately, but he is the one who helped to direct me into the area of medical technology. It never would have happened without him and everything he did. He helped me to find a place that I could belong as a young girl and be happy and be safe. And after my little journey out to Minneapolis, that is what I did. So many people have made the difference and made me who I am today. But the heart came from here. Everybody here, and it looks like the hearts are growing bigger and bigger every day. So thank you all for my life, for my great work, for my great education, because it started here. And a lot of good things happened in this room. Thank you.
Our lone guy, Mark Farmer, son of Marilyn and John Farmer, graduated from Schenck in 1994. He was a key member of one of the greatest basketball teams in school history. Debatable, it always comes up. Is it Rosebush's 71 team or is it Farmer's 94 team? These guys will say 94. I think Mark would probably say something else. Is Mark here today, by the way? No, I thought he was going to be, but anyway, two great teams. I got a chance to see Mark and his teammates play one Christmas vacation when I was home, and I was very impressed. It's a good team. Jeremy DeVue, one of his teammates, said Mark was the backbone of our team's success. His skills were undeniable, but it was his exceptional leadership that truly set him apart. There's a little story that I heard from some of his teammates. They're not quite as conservative maybe as Mark was. Mark was sort of laid back. And some of these other guys on the team were a little rowdier. And the story as I heard it was, you know, they were going off to somebody's house one night, and one of the teammates' mother said, well, where are you guys going anyway? And they said where it was going to be, and they started listing off who's going with you, and he started listing them off, and the mother's eyebrows are going up a little bit, and they finally said they all call him Farmer. Nobody calls him by his first name, it's Farmer. Farmer's going, oh, that's okay, come back whenever. I think that tells you a little bit what everybody thought of Mark growing up. He's just one of those great kids. As a senior captain, it was Mark who hit that game-winning shot that we talked about in the Holton game. It was Mark who led the team through the tournament to the Eastern Maine Championship, for which he was named the Bill Warner Most Valuable Player. Mark's consistent and clutch play earned him a place on the All-Tournament, All-State, and McDonald's All-Star teams. In the East-West All-Star team, Farmer took 12 shots, made 12 baskets. That tells you a little bit about what kind of a ball player he was, playing with the best in the state. Mark was one of those guys that you could have taken the scorebook before we played the game and put down 25 points, 14 rebounds, and you'd been darn close just about every game. I think his teammates would probably agree with that. That was going to be there. He finished his career at Schenck as one of the all-time leading scorers. He had 1,130 points and will be remembered as one of the best basketball players in school history. Carrie wanted me to mention that she had 1,203. I don't know. I think playing to the driveway there. Yeah. They already snuck in the gym a while ago. I think they played a little one-on-one. Mark was also a pretty damn good tennis player. Jim Willard was his coach, and Jim said Mark was our #1 player. He had a big serve. He said a lot bigger than Paul Jamo served, and he could have played at the collegiate level. In the classroom, Mark was described as very bright, diligent, and respectful, and his teacher said it was a pleasure to have him in class. Mark's peers showed how much they respected him and admired him by voting him King of the Winter Carnival, which is a big deal up here. You know, Winter Carnival King and Queen, that means a lot in this area. After high school, Mark began a very challenging course of study at Bates College. He was a Dean's List student and participated in a career development internship program at the College of Osteopathic Medicine at the University of New England in Biddeford. After receiving his degree in biological chemistry from Bates, Mark worked for 4 years at the Jackson Lab in Bar Harbor before earning a master's degree in biotechnology from Harvard University. That's not bad stuff. Now Mark made a decision, and I know the other Mark, the Rosebush guy there from 71, sort of made the same kind of decision. And look, you know, we ever going to play in the NBA? You know, we were very good high school players, but that's not where our career is headed. You know, we better put some time in what we're going to do as a career and to raise a family, and that's what he did. And I respect you very much for making that decision. It is so hard to play college athletics and do the science stuff especially, and good decision. Mark's work ethic and strong educational background made him an excellent candidate for employment as a research scientist. In the early years, he worked for the big guys, Merck and Pfizer. Mark now has chosen to work for a smaller, more specialized company in Massachusetts, where he leads a team of research scientists working on protein analysis, monoclonal antibodies, making the cutting edge medicines that are the next in line for us. The vaccines and the other medicines that we need to fight the diseases that we're all coming down with. Mark currently lives in Massachusetts with wife Heather and the 2 children, Shay and Ryan. As demanding as his job is, he makes time to share the lessons he learned in sports right here at Schenck High School by coaching his kids' soccer and basketball teams. Mark Farmer, come on up.
It's a tough act to follow the 2 inductees that were ahead of me, but I'll do my best. First, I want to congratulate the inductees. It's a fantastic panel of people that were inducted, distinguished, esteemed in many ways. So just being here with this group of people means so much to me. To the committee members, thank you so much. Just being nominated would have been enough. I was over the moon to hear I was just nominated, but to hear I'm inducted, fantastic. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to be an ambassador for Schenck High School. To my family, you mean so much to me. All your unwavering love and support has just been fantastic. Without that, I wouldn't be half the man that I am today. So I do want to go into a little bit of an anecdote, a little story. I told my kids I wouldn't embarrass them, so I'll take it easy on them today. But I do want to share one story. And Frank touched on it a little bit. My basketball journey hasn't ended. A little older, the hairlines receded a little bit. I don't shoot quite as well as I used to, but my basketball journey hasn't ended. So when Shay, my daughter, was in 2nd grade, she started playing basketball. And my wife said to me, oh, let's go check it out and go to a couple practices and a couple of these games and see what it's all about. So we were there watching a little bit, and in my head I'm thinking, some of these coaches, yeah, I would teach that. I would teach that. Might do that a little differently, but I see what they're doing. And so Heather, my lovely wife, said, would you consider coaching? I thought, okay, maybe next year. And so that put me into a very serious rabbit hole that I'm stuck in. I've coached my daughter's travel basketball team, where when she was in 8th grade, we won the league championship, beating teams 8 times the size of Little North Reading, beating them seriously too, big beatings. We had an unbelievable season. I coach her AAU team. She's on a team that we punch above our weight. We really do. We're playing a lot of city teams in Boston, and we hold our own. My son, I coach his travel basketball team. 5 months ago, we won the league championship, again, beating teams twice the size of our little team. His AAU team, he plays in 2 AAU teams. Guess who coaches both of them? But it's brought me closer to my kids, it's brought me closer to my family, and I love everything. The reason why I bring this up today is it's the principles, the drills, the mentality that I learned in that gym. The kids benefit from it. They learn from it. The success that they have on these teams can be traced back to this gym. It really can. And it's been so meaningful and so much fun to see them play and have fun and get the enjoyment that I got out of it, as Carrie did, and a lot of the other members that are that are inducted today. So it's been a blast. Still, you have a few more years of me, and then afterwards you're done with me. So I'll leave you with just knowing that I'm honored, privileged, again, just being a strong advocate of Schenck High School. I couldn't be prouder to be a graduate of the school. It means so much to me. Strong sense of community, seeing all these people, all of my teammates, my friends, all the support is just incredible. So it's just a wonderful thing. And so I bleed green. I'm forever a Wolverine. Thank you very much.
Mark, if you ever want to think about moving back, the kids could play here. We can arrange housing. Think about it.
They want to go back in the gym afterwards.
Hey, yeah. Yeah. Good guy, good guy. Okay, our next one. We unfortunately are dealing with an untimely medical incident with the Kashub family, Michelle Presley Kashub's family, and Michelle got called out, so she's not able to attend. So we'll go through her things, and Dan will come up and receive her plaque. We're extremely sorry that this happened, but there's nothing we can do. We're waiting to see, what happens with it. Dr. Michelle Presley Kashub, from the time she entered kindergarten at Opal Myrick to her graduation from Schenck High School in 1986, Michelle Presley was involved with music. From elementary chorus and beginner band to Schenck musicals and music ensembles, band, music band, jazz band, brass quintet, chorus, chamber singers, everything that we offered, she did. Michelle participated in the Maine Music Educators Association District 5 Honors Festivals, solo and ensemble festivals, solo vocal performances, all 4 years that she was here at Schenck. She was also chosen for the MMEA All-State Chorus for sophomore, junior, and senior years. Mark Scally, retired Schenck music educator, who was sitting up here in the corner, said of Michelle, she was a musical marvel in high school, who was at home with any style of music, whether it be pop or Mozart. She just loved it as long as it was music. As the daughter of longtime East Millinocket educators, David and Juanita Presley, it was sort of inevitable that she was going to end up doing something in education. Michelle received her BS in music education from the University of Southern Maine, a master's of music and choral conducting from the University of Maine, and a PhD in music education from Northwestern University. Dr. Kashub now also studied with numerous conductors and music luminaries, including Dr. Peter Webster, Professor Emeritus at Northwestern University, who said of her, I consider Michelle to be one of the top 5 researchers and writers in music education today. And I consider that in the world, but I may be overstepping my bounds. She has many important publications in music education. She's a superb teacher and has led the music education department at USM to a national recognition. Dr. Kashub is professor of music and director of music education at the Osher School of Music, University of Southern Maine. She has also held numerous professional positions, including president of the MMEA, director of USM's Center for Collaboration and Development, Repertoire and Standards, contributor for the Choral Journal of the American Choral Directors Association, and chair and academic editor of the National Association for Music Education's Music Educators Journal. As an active clinician and lecturer, Dr. Kashub has presented papers and workshops in 26 states, Washington, D.C., and 4 countries. She has also served as artistic director for the Boys Singers of Maine and has conducted choral festivals across Maine and all of New England. Dr. Kashub has authored or co-authored or edited more than 10 books, including the Oxford Handbook of Music Composition Pedagogy, I can't pronounce that. Dr. Janice Smith, Professor Emeritus, Aaron Copeland School of Music, Queens College, a longtime collaborator with Dr. Kashub, said, editing a volume of this size and scope is a major undertaking. It demonstrates the confidence of a major publishing house in her abilities as a writer and an editor. It is a worthy capstone to a career thus far and represents the highest quality of work in the profession of music education. Her forthcoming textbook, Developing Musical Capacities in Elementary General Music, will be published by Oxford University Press next year. She has also contributed chapters to multiple books addressing choral education, general music, and teacher education, and has authored numerous articles for professional journals. Quotes from some of her mentors, colleagues, and students. These are all quotes from different people. Dr. Kashub has changed the face of music education in Maine, the country, and the world. She is an academic star. I can say without hesitation that she is one of the most accomplished and nicest people I know in academia. She will always be an inspiration to me as an educator. She's a gifted mentor who believes in her students wholeheartedly. Michelle basically teaches all of our music educators, or most of our music educators in the state of Maine, the people that come into our high schools and grammar schools and whatever. Most of them get a start in a program that she has something to do with. She's an incredible woman. Michelle has shared her life, her passion for music, and her work in the field of music education with her husband, Alan Kashub, the director of the Osher School of Music. That's in University of Southern Maine. They have 3 grown children, David, Catherine, and Daniel. And Daniel is going to come up, say a few words, and receive her plaque.
All right. It's my pleasure to accept this award on behalf of my mother. I know she was honored to receive it, and I think that her time in the East Millinocket schools inspired her love of music education. And I'm a music educator myself, and I've never met anyone as passionate about our field. I know that she would like to thank her teachers for their crucial impact on her life and her passions. And I'd like to point out that that crucial impact has had a cascading effect for thousands of students and teachers worldwide. I have a unique perspective on my mother's achievements, as I'm the only person on earth who was both her student and her son. It's a unique position. As her student, I know that my best teaching is a result of the fantastic music education program that my mom leads. And as a son, I know that her professional achievements, though they are great, are dwarfed by her and my father's great compassionate parenting. Thank you.
Our last inductee today, Ruth Gagne Shaw, grew up, Ruth Gagne, on the Horseshoe Road in Medway. The what now?
It's a nice long road.
Yeah. She was one of seven children born to Everett and Velma Gagne. She entered Schenck High School in 1976. And one of the big things that happened in the 70s was something called Title IX. And prior to Title IX, women's basketball from the mid-1950s to the early 1970s didn't exist. There was a Girls Athletic Association that Gilly ran after school, but it wasn't an organized basketball like the boys had. And in the early 70s, Title IX got passed and said, hey, we need to offer girls the same thing we offer boys. So in 1972, I believe it was, a girl named Randy Reed, who became Randy Burrett, was hired to teach and start the girls' basketball team at Schenck High School again. And I talked to girls that were on the last team that Gilly had in the mid-50s, who as a junior played basketball for her, Senior year came around and there was no girls' basketball. She said, I had to try out for cheerleading so I could be around the boys. Which worked out okay for her, but I think she would have rather had something she could do, with the basketball. We don't really know why that happened, why basketball just sort of disappeared here for the girls. But it showed up. I've talked to girls that were on that first girls basketball team in the early 70s, and they were proud of the new uniforms that they got and the chance that they had to play. And Ruthie was a few years down the road, 4 or 5 years. She came in 76, I believe, and in the 4 years, of course, they didn't have a girls' tournament until just about that time. Ruthie helped bring her Schenck basketball team to the tournament all 4 years that she was in high school. And she had a very good high school basketball career. Scored close to 1,000 points, around 900, and a lot of rebounds. Was obviously a very good player. One of the things she averaged in her senior year about 20 points a game. Had that 38, 39 point game against Bucksport in the tournament where she scored the 18 baskets, which is again a record. But that was just the beginning of things. And Jackie mentioned that she had a good experience with her guidance counselor and got her headed in the right direction. Ruthie's was not that same way. Again, we were talking a little bit later than when you went through, but when she went to see her guidance counselor with her plans for what she wanted to do with her future, she told him she wanted to be a chemist. And he said, well, doesn't your dad work in the mill? And your mother works down at Bartlett's, downtown. He said, maybe you ought to shoot for something a little less, extreme. Sort of the idea, guys might do that, but this is not for a girl. And excuse my language, but that pissed her off. And the first thing that she did primarily after she got out of college, bring her diploma back, put it down on the guidance counselor's desk and said, hey, you shouldn't be telling young women or young men to aspire lower. You ought to reach, expand your horizons a little bit, try to do something that's maybe a little different. And Ruthie was inspired in high school. Well, it's right here. She was an excellent student. She found her academic passion in John Roeder's chemistry class. And Sandy where's Sandy? Right over here. John's not with us any longer, but Sandy's here representing him tonight. And it truly, there are two places that Ruthie could go that were safe places that she just loved. Basketball court and John Roeder's chemistry class. So she decided she was going to be a chemist, and she went on a full academic scholarship to the University of New England, where she majored in environmental chemistry. Her high school years were good. Her college years were incredible. And I'm going to give you some of the numbers here in a minute. Mark, Carrie, you guys listen to some of these numbers. You can appreciate it probably more than some of these others. She wasn't only an athlete in college. She was active in student government. She was the president of the Student Senate. She was a member of the drama club. She was recognized with a Community Service Award for environmental awareness, all while competing in 3 sports in college: basketball, volleyball, and a couple of years of softball, which for any of us that played ball in college, it takes a lot of time to be able to get everything in. And it's amazing that she was able to do that. While Ruthie was a very good athlete in high school, she became an elite college competitor. She was a first-team all-conference all-star for 4 years in college, 3 years in volleyball, and she was the MVP in both sports for 3 years. In basketball, she scored 1,333 points, And there, a lot of times we think college schedules, there are a lot more games. They didn't play a lot more games. They played a schedule that was similar to high school basketball in numbers of games. So 1,333 with that schedule is impressive. She was twice named the NAIA Player of the Year. Once is pretty darn good. Twice is pretty much unheard of. She set numerous records at UNE, 5 of which remain unsurpassed since 1984. 40 years. In 2007, Ruth was inducted into the UNE Hall of Fame and her number was retired. Her former coach, Carol LaRue, and very close to Ruthie. Ruthie's almost another daughter with her. She says, I've coached thousands of athletes in her career, and very few shine above the rest, but Ruth does. Not only for her athletic ability, but also for the person she is. She is such a positive role model for young girls and women in sports. Just exactly what we're looking for in the Schenck Hall of Fame. This is where my wife waves her cane at me and says, don't cry. Yeah. I don't know why I bring her. Okay, let me just tell you her 5 remaining records. She had many more records. The 5 that remain since 1984, let this sink in a little bit. Average points per game per season. Okay, for one of her seasons, she averaged 23.8 points a game. Pretty good. Career points per game for 4 years, she averaged over 20 points for the 4 years, 20.5 points. Single game record down there, 40 points. Most rebounds, 29 rebounds in one game. That blows me away every time I hear it. Now, Ruthie will tell you that's because she missed a lot of shots and got her own rebounds. Well, average rebounds in a season, for one season, she averaged 14.5 rebounds per game. Now, 14.5 rebounds in a game is darn good. To average it for a whole season, just remarkable. After graduation from UNE, Ruthie began her career as a chemist at the Peck Environmental Firm. She remained with them for 10 years, the last 4 of which she served as their director. She also served as the secretary for the Maine State Clean Water Association for 5 years. She then took a position in chemistry and athletics and took those things in a different direction. She decided maybe she'd like to try her hand at teaching and coaching. She earned her teaching credentials and began teaching and coaching at Bedford High School, where she remained for, was it 27 years, Ruthie? 28 years. During her coaching career, her volleyball teams have won 2 state championships. Nonsense, right? Nope. And she has garnered several Coach of the Year honors from different organizations. After nearly 3 decades now, Ruth is now retired from teaching, but she can't give up that volleyball. She still coaches the Bedford High School volleyball team. Ruth and her husband George are now enjoying their retirement and watching their 3 adult children, George, Connor, and Olivia, raise their own children. Ruthie, would you come up, please?
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for all the work, the entire committee. It's just a major amount of work that they have to do. He called me probably, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm amazed at the amount of work that you do, and I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure all the inductees do appreciate it. I want to thank Lori for coming. Lori was a senior when I was a freshman, and being from Medway, you know, it wasn't always a welcoming thing, but Lori was very welcome. Made me feel like I was at home, and I appreciate you being here. Someday she should be here because she's an amazing athlete as well. And I want to thank my family, my husband, for everything, just everything. I'm just proud of them for driving up here. We took a long road. We took a long way, let me tell you. We did. We took through the woods. So like anyway, I won't make this long. I just want to say how proud I am. Not my accomplishments, but I guess they are in some way my children. I'm very thankful they all have, you know, done wonderful things in their lives. They are all, you know, wonderful members of society. They've all graduated from college. I'm just so very proud of them. I can't thank you enough for being the wonderful children that you are, and I hope that your children, I'm expecting 3 more grandchildren soon. And I hope that you think about, you know, your lives and what you have, and you can give your children what they need as well. Life is short. You gotta enjoy every moment of it. And I think the only reason I did so well is I really hated to lose. And in my life, I feel I've won in every sense of the way. I think I've won. So thank you so much.
Yeah, so we praise them a little bit and they give back the 50-50 winnings. Thank you, and that was, I just want to compliment your husband on driving up. Husbands are good for something. That concludes our program for today. They don't do this everywhere. You know, we get comments every year. Geez, you know, this is incredible. You know, the spread that you put on for us and the flowers. We had a girl that's down in Sanford now. She's the Biddeford town clerk.
She's a Biddeford town clerk. Yeah.
Who was one of my former students. She drove the 4 hours up, made those flower decorations that you saw at the tables all day yesterday, and then had a 4-hour drive back. I think she likes us. But she just wants to do that, and you know, those kind of things, the little things that make it sort of special. They do not do this in a lot of places. And we get that, and we get people from Millinocket that come down and from other towns and say, Jesus, we don't do anything like that there. And we get people that are honorees every year that say, well, geez, I thought that maybe be 10 people, and you know, it wouldn't be anything like it was. So I think we're doing a good job, and I think for the young people in the community, I hope that the kids walking around school take a look at some of these things and read them, and to say, wow, this is pretty impressive. So if any of you want to stick around a little bit and huddle up with the classmates or teammates or something, I don't think there's any reason we have to get out of here immediately. Where's Justin?
He's up there. Where?
Justin, anything?
Nope.
So if you want to do that, you're certainly welcome. You know, visit a little while. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed it. And hey, good job, everybody.